it really is becoming a totally different person to me. And as you age, if you're making that conscious decision amongst each other to do those things, then you actually end up realizing that you re-fall in love with each other, I guess. I don't know.
No doubt.
That's the way I see it. Yeah, so, I think it was a statistic that I just read that 70% or it's like a 70% of women will categorize or put in perimenopause or menopause as a cause for divorce. 70%.
Whoa.
That's huge.
Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
So welcome to another episode of the Family Office. My name is Len Cooper and my co-host is Chris, and we're looking forward to having another conversation with you today. Obviously, we're here to talk about all things finance. We're here to talk about things that are related to home care. And then also we want to throw in some current event topics just to give you perspective since we have differing points of view. And so with that, Chris, man, how are you this week?
I'm doing well, Len. Thanks for asking.
Good, man.
I know.
Anything new going on with you these days?
What was it?
Anything new going on?
Oh, anything new. Just besides the craziness of just everything right now. I can't believe it's already August 25th. I can't believe we're going in September, October, November, December. Just school, yeah. Q4. School, first year of Donald Trump almost being in office, financial markets. Is there going to be a crash? Like, there's a lot going on right now that I'm thinking about that's going on. But just to me, I know that this is cliche, and I know that this is something where it's like maybe this is a sign of age. I don't know. It's like most people could chime in on that, but I know we say, oh, as you get older, time seems to go by faster. And I know that's like a cliche, and there's a scientific study that I'm sure is out there that I've read probably before, but I really do look at it and go, man, is it time really just kind of I really feel like this year has flown by, but I think that everyone will say that when you ask them. And I don't know if that's just a sentiment of I think it's just, we're doing more. And I really think that's just we've got more things going on. And I think that's really what it is. You start to see other things, you start to add more to your life, and you start to be able to have more bandwidth and go, okay, I could do this. I just think it's that. So other than that, though, it's been great. It's been phenomenal. Great weather here in Houston, by my add. It feels, the last few days, it felt very Southern California-ish. In San Diego, I might add that, albeit in that cool morning, and no overcast, just sunny, but it's been really nice. Been very nice summer, mild summer. How about you, Len?
Really well. Everything's going well. Had a chance to spend some time with my wife over the weekend. We took a trip out to Newport and we watched a hip hop symphony. It was a quartet of violinists and a cellist, and it was really good. It was a candlelight setting, so it was very intimate, maybe 50, 60 people in the room. And it was very, very cool. It was 90s hip hop, man, which happens to be the best era in hip hop, by the way. So anyway,
I would agree.
For sure. But, you talked about time before, and it was a judge, I believe, said this one time. He said, for a 10-year-old, a year is 1/10 of their life. I'm 70. And so a year for me is only 1/70th. And so the whole idea of time becomes more relative. And it seems to go faster as we get older because 1 year is just such an increasingly smaller fraction. So that was interesting that you brought that up. So
that's the PhD coming out in you right there. Like, that's the PhD knowledge of Len. Important what you said there, and I'm glad you said it, Len, about spending time with you got to spend some time with your wife this weekend because I'm sure you planned that, right? And you did that effort in the relationship to set that up and court her, date her, even after being married 26 years, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a regular thing, man. But in fact, what's interesting is that this time she actually planned it. So she came up with the idea. Yeah. So usually I'm the one because I like to surprise her. So, but she doesn't like surprises. So we have to try to find ways to, strike that balance. But yeah, in fact, this time she actually planned it out. Now I did all the logistical things, at the hotel and where we go the day before and the day after and all of course. That stuff. But yeah, she found that event. So it was cool.
Amazing. And see, that's the important thing too, is just guys in general. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are or where you're at. You you really gotta make that conscious effort to continue. And I know at first you're like, oh my God, it's work, but it's really not, because what ends up happening is you end up, I was reading an article on this morning about hormone changes in women and hormone changes in men, and between, perimenopause and how that works and affects women. It's like, it really is becoming a totally different person again. And as you age, if you're making that conscious decision amongst each other to do those things, then you actually end up realizing that you re-fall in love with each other, I guess. I don't know.
No doubt.
That's the way I see it.
No doubt. I don't know how I've been sounding this whole time. This sucks.
You sound great, by the way. You sound great, by the way. That's a state of California construction crew coming in to come and see you, by the way.
This is all bad, man. This is all bad.
Hey, the best thing about it is you have a guy named Frame that's going to come in and make it all look better.
Oh my goodness.
I think just in general, the fact that if you stop looking at it as like, oh, I have to do work and plan stuff, and oh my God, why do I think a lot of times what we have, this syndrome, guys have this syndrome where we think, oh, we've banked enough, right? We've banked enough cool points or love points or dating points or whatever, you want to call it. Yep. I don't think you can ever be done doing that, because as you grow and you age, you end up changing as a human being. Like, you are not the same man you were 10, 20 years ago, and your wife isn't either. For most people. I mean, there are some people where you look at them and you go, yeah, they're still exact. But I think at one point, some way, shape, or form, hormones will eventually change you as who you are, because you just can't control that. But I think as you grow in that, you'll have a very fulfilled life and a very fulfilling partnership, because you end up falling in love with that person again, because you see how they're changing, and you fall in love with that new person and you go, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, so I think that's the fruitfulness of seeing that and you making that conscious effort. And now you see that's a healthy relationship. If you're sitting there listening to how you respond, you say, well, actually she planned it, but then I stepped in and still did these details. That's like a key indicator to me anyways, to be like, that's a very healthy relationship. Like, you can tell there's a lot of things working there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so interesting, because in a marriage, in our marriage in particular, when I think about the type of person that I was in terms of my lack of vision for the future, my desire not to defer gratification to a certain extent, my lack of patience in many ways, I had to work on myself to make sure that I kept the spice in the relationship. And I also noticed that she does the same thing. She's always looking to see how can she be better? How can she bring more to the table? And I'm not saying it as a transactional thing. It's because we love each other and we want to make sure the relationship doesn't get stale over time. Because a lot of times what happens as people grow, they start to grow apart. And as they grow apart, they start having the same types of interests they had. And so they start losing interest in each other. And then they start having wandering eyes and looking other places and all of that. And that's a very insidious, very slow transition that begins to happen. Sometimes it's so subtle that you don't even know the difference. And sometimes if you're not conscious about making the effort to keep everything spicy and spontaneous sometimes, and plan out or do something what the other spouse enjoys, like speaking in their love language and making sure that you understand what it is that they want from their perspective. All of those things are important, man. And I know for you, you're one of those guys who understands that, because you value the idea of personal development. And I know that a lot of the things that you've learned over the years, you applied not only to business, but also to your family, not also to just your kids, but to your wife, most importantly, man. So, hearing that from you is also important. So, I think it was a statistic that I just read that 70%, or it's like a 70% of women will categorize or put in perimenopause or menopause as a cause for divorce. 70%. Whoa.
That's huge.
I've never heard that before. That's big. That's
huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And I just recently read that and I'm like going, holy moly, like that's a very big thing there. And if you haven't read it yet, I suggest you go read it. It's called The Female Brain. It's a really good read. You could probably listen to it in 2.5, 3 hours on Audible. And it pretty much explains and breaks down the entire psychology of a woman's brain and how it changes through menopause, perimenopause. And then also there's a man version of it, or a dude's version of, called the male brain. So insightful to understand that. I've learned so much by listening to that. I've listened to it twice, just in understanding that, because number one, I want to be prepared for that if and when that happens, when it happens. And I want to be prepared for myself or anything, because I just want to know. So good one to go pick up. And I think that your wife would probably find it fascinating too, because it's written by a doctor and she also is a psychologist or one of the two. I get them all messed up, but somewhere in the mental health field.
Fantastic.
So the author is also a doctor.
Okay. I'll definitely recommend that, because she loves reading about just self-empowerment and just understanding the brain and understanding the body and how those two things collide. And so.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate your time as always, Len. Look, guys, if you were entertained by this conversation, or you have feedback, or you want to comment, go ahead and do so. We're always open to have a conversation with people. And then also, if you like it or you want to see future things to talk about, I mean, for me, I don't care. Len, I know you don't care. We'll talk about any subject. And again, at the end of the day, we're still friends. We're still coworkers. We're still peers. We're still, business partners. And we can have topics like this unemotionally attached to it, so that you can really understand how you feel, and you can really understand the world that's going around you, so that you don't think you're crazy. I mean, that's really the reality behind it. So that being said, Len, it's always a pleasure to see you guys on the next one. Appreciate your time, man.
Always. Take care, man.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.